The greatest tragedy in life is to stay the same when everything inside you knows you're meant to grow. Oprah Winfrey. This video reached you because tonight is not random, it's a turning point. Have you felt restless, unsettled, or strangely awake? That's no accident. Stay with me, because missing this upgrade could cost you the future your soul has been waiting for. When people hear the phrase consciousness upgrade, it can sound mysterious or even overwhelming, but at its core, it's simply about growth. Think of it as your inner world receiving a system update, just like your phone or computer does. The upgrade doesn't replace who you are, but it enhances your ability to process life, respond to challenges, and align with deeper truth. It's an energetic and psychological shift where your mind sheds outdated programs, like fear-driven habits, negative self-talk, or limiting beliefs, and installs new patterns that support clarity, creativity, and freedom. Unlike a spiritual awakening, which often feels like one big lightning strike that changes everything in a moment, a consciousness upgrade tends to happen in cycles. You might go through several upgrades over the course of your life, each one arriving when you've stretched as far as the old version of yourself can take you. Awakening is that first opening of the eyes. Upgrading is the ongoing process of sharpening vision, clearing distortions, and stepping into higher versions of yourself again and again. To make this clearer, imagine a person who's used to surviving on autopilot. Same job, same stress, same routines, no real questioning of whether this is truly fulfilling. Then one day, they begin feeling restless. They notice signs, maybe their health suffers, maybe opportunities dry up, or maybe they just feel an inner nudge that whispers, something has to change. That's the system telling them an upgrade is ready. If they listen, they might learn new skills, shift their mindset, and embrace a more authentic path. If they ignore it, they risk repeating the same cycles until life forces the change through a crisis. Another way to think of an upgrade is through lenses. Imagine you've been wearing the same prescription glasses for years. Over time, the world looks blurrier, but you don't notice because you've adapted. Then, you put on a new pair of glasses, and suddenly the details are sharper, the colors brighter, the edges clearer. Nothing outside has changed. It's your perception that has expanded. That's what a consciousness upgrade does. It gives you new lenses for reality, allowing you to see opportunities, connections, and truths that were always there but previously invisible. What makes this idea so powerful is that it's not reserved for a few. Everyone, at some point, is invited into an upgrade. It could be triggered by a major life event, a loss, a new encounter, or simply a sense that the old way no longer works. The invitation always comes with both a challenge and a promise. You must release the old patterns that keep you safe but stuck, and in return, you unlock access to more aligned, vibrant, and empowered living. This is why ignoring an upgrade feels heavy. You may notice yourself repeating the same arguments, attracting the same types of struggles, or feeling blocked no matter how much effort you put in. That's the universe reminding you your old software is outdated. An upgrade is waiting. And when you embrace it, life begins to flow with more ease, clarity, and purpose than you thought possible. There are moments in life that feel like ordinary days on the surface, yet carry extraordinary weight beneath them. Tonight is one of those thresholds. A threshold is a doorway. It doesn't force you to walk through, but once you do, everything on the other side looks and feels different. Why tonight, though? Because consciousness upgrades rarely arrive at random. They are timed perfectly with cycles in your life, moments when you are most ready to shed the old skin and step into the new. Think of how farmers know when it's time to plant, harvest, or let the soil rest. Nature follows cycles, and so do we. There are seasons for learning, for breaking down, for building up, and for expanding into something greater. A consciousness upgrade often coincides with one of those turning points, moments when your inner state, outer circumstances, and even collective energies align to create a window of opportunity. Tonight represents one of those windows. It may not be marked on a calendar, but your body, your intuition, and your experiences will confirm it. You may feel unusual restlessness, as if something invisible is tugging at you, or you may feel pressure, like life has been tightening the walls around you so that you finally move. This pressure is not punishment, it's an invitation. Many breakthroughs begin with discomfort. Just as a seed cracks before it sprouts, your old structures need to break so something stronger can grow. Why is ignoring a threshold so dangerous? Because thresholds don't stay open forever. They are like doors swinging wide for a limited time, asking you to make a choice. Step forward and you align with growth. Stay behind and you continue looping through the same lessons. Think of people who sensed they needed to change, a job, a relationship, a habit, but delayed only to find themselves years later stuck in the same pain. Life keeps sending the same test until you respond differently. History and personal stories are full of examples. Someone feels the urge to start their own business but hesitates out of fear. Months later, they're laid off. Life pushed them into the upgrade they ignored. Another person feels drawn to leave a toxic friendship but stays, only to watch their confidence and joy drain away. That threshold, once ignored, turns into suffering. Tonight is critical because your awareness is awake right now. You're tuned into this message, which means your spirit is aligned with this moment. This is not coincidence, it's a signal. The threshold represents the crossroad. Either repeat the old version of yourself or embrace the new one waiting to emerge. It doesn't require perfection, only willingness. One step of courage tonight can shift the direction of your entire life tomorrow. Before a consciousness upgrade fully takes hold, your inner and outer world often begin sending subtle signals. These signs can feel confusing at first, almost like life is glitching, but they're actually evidence that your system is rearranging itself to support the shift. Recognizing them helps you avoid mistaking transformation for chaos. One of the first signs shows up in the body. You might experience unusual fatigue, bursts of energy at odd hours, or restlessness that doesn't make sense. Some people report tingling sensations, tension in the chest, or even sudden insomnia. While these symptoms might seem purely physical, they often reflect your nervous system adjusting to higher levels of awareness. Just like the body feels sore after new exercise, your mind and spirit react when entering new territory. Emotions are another strong indicator. You may find yourself more sensitive than usual, crying over small things, or feeling waves of anger and frustration. On the flip side, moments of joy may come unexpectedly, as if you're touched by beauty in ordinary places. These swings are not proof you're unstable, they're evidence that old emotional storage is surfacing to be released, making room for fresh energy. Mental patterns also shift. Some people notice repeating thoughts they can't ignore anymore, or they suddenly feel clarity about problems that once seemed impossible. Synchronicities, like seeing the same numbers, hearing the same phrases, or meeting the right person at the right time, become hard to dismiss. These patterns aren't random coincidences, they're your subconscious and the universe teaming up to nudge you forward. Dreams, too, play a major role. During upgrades, many people report vivid or symbolic dreams. You may dream of old relationships resurfacing, losing or finding keys, traveling through strange landscapes, or even encountering guides. Whether literal or symbolic, dreams during this period are like hidden instruction manuals, pointing you toward what must be healed, accepted, or embraced. Perhaps the most telling sign is the growing sense that something has to change. You may not know what, but you can feel the old reality doesn't fit anymore. It's the same sensation a hermit crab feels before finding a bigger shell. Discomfort signals growth. That inner restlessness is not random dissatisfaction. It's your consciousness whispering that the upgrade is already downloading. Instead of dismissing these signs as stress or coincidence, see them as markers of readiness. When you acknowledge them, you move with the upgrade instead of against it. It's like recognizing the trembling before a breakthrough, the storm before the clearing. And once you identify the signals, you'll never mistake them again. You'll know your system is preparing, and all you need to do is align with the process. Every upgrade comes with an unspoken choice: accept the shift or resist it. And while saying no to change may feel safe in the moment, ignoring a consciousness upgrade carries consequences that ripple through every area of life. The danger is not punishment from the universe, but the cost of staying stuck in an outdated version of yourself when life is trying to expand you. The first danger is emotional stagnation. When you resist growth, the same emotions keep circling like a broken record. The anger you thought you buried resurfaces, the sadness you try to ignore lingers, and the anxiety keeps knocking louder. This is because unprocessed energy doesn't disappear, it compounds. Think of ignoring an upgrade like leaving a wound untreated. It doesn't heal, it festers. Another danger is the repetition of negative cycles. If you've noticed certain struggles, such as unhealthy relationships, financial setbacks, or self-sabotaging habits, coming back again and again, it's usually a sign the upgrade is waiting. When ignored, the lesson doesn't vanish. It reappears in different disguises until you face it. Life is persistent. What you avoid today will revisit you tomorrow with even more intensity. Missed opportunities are perhaps the most painful consequence. Upgrades often come with hidden doors, chances to step into new relationships, career paths, or creative breakthroughs. When you resist, those doors close. You might not even realize what you missed until years later, looking back with regret. Many people can recall moments when they felt called to take a leap, but stayed in comfort, only to realize that was the very chance that could have transformed everything. Ignoring the upgrade also keeps you tethered to toxic influences. Without growth, you remain tied to environments and people who drain your energy. These connections feel familiar, but they're often rooted in old versions of yourself that no longer serve your future. Refusing the upgrade means giving permission for those same dynamics to keep defining you. On a deeper level, resisting the call blocks your connection with destiny. Every upgrade aligns you more closely with your higher path. Saying no delays that alignment and can make life feel heavy, confusing, and directionless. You may notice opportunities slipping, synchronicities fading, and motivation weakening. It's as if life itself withdraws momentum until you're willing to move forward. A simple metaphor explains this best. Ignoring a consciousness upgrade is like refusing to update your phone. At first, it works fine, but slowly the apps stop functioning, the battery drains faster, and glitches become normal. Eventually, the system crashes. Humans are no different. When we refuse to evolve, life becomes harder than it needs to be. That's why the cost of ignoring isn't just missing growth, it's risking everything you already have. Because when life demands expansion and we cling to the old, the very foundation we hold onto begins to crumble. The upgrade is not here to destroy you, it's here to save you from the slow destruction of staying the same. Consciousness upgrades might sound mystical, but at their core, they are rooted in very real processes within the mind and body. Science has been quietly catching up with what ancient wisdom has taught for centuries, that human beings are designed to transform, and the brain, body, and energy field all work together to make that possible. One of the most important concepts here is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. For a long time, scientists believed our brains stopped growing and changing after childhood. We now know that isn't true. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you hold onto, every habit you practice, carves a neural pathway in your brain. When a consciousness upgrade begins, it's as if life is inviting you to stop walking the old mental paths and build new ones. It's not just spiritual, it's biological. The more you focus on new patterns of thought, the stronger those neural connections become and the weaker the old ones get. Alongside this is the field of epigenetics, which shows how your environment and mindset can literally switch genes on or off. Stress, fear, and trauma may activate genes linked to illness or imbalance, while love, joy, and purpose can activate genes that promote healing and resilience. In other words, transformation isn't just in your head, it's in your DNA. When you align with an upgrade, you're giving your body permission to unlock healthier and stronger versions of itself. Energy science also plays a role. Every human being has an electromagnetic field, measurable by instruments like an EEG for the brain or an EKG for the heart. Emotions carry frequency, fear vibrates at a lower state, while gratitude and compassion vibrate higher. When you begin moving through an upgrade, you often feel those swings because your energetic field is shifting frequencies. This isn't just metaphorical. Research from institutes like HeartMath has shown how coherent heart rhythms, produced by emotions like love and calm, improve brain function, immunity, and overall well-being. Psychology adds another layer of proof. Carl Jung described transformation as the process of individuation, becoming whole by integrating the conscious and unconscious mind. Modern therapy echoes this, teaching that lasting change requires bringing hidden beliefs into awareness. The moment you shine light on old patterns, they lose power and new behaviors can take root. Even creativity is part of the science of transformation. Neuroscientists have found that when we quiet the default mode network of the brain, the chatter that replays worries and doubts, new insights and solutions emerge. That's why practices like meditation or deep focus often lead to sudden breakthroughs. They allow the brain to access higher states of awareness, which feel like inspiration but are grounded in biology. So when you hear the term consciousness upgrade, don't picture something vague or far away. Picture your neurons firing in new patterns, your genes responding to a healthier inner environment, your heart field synchronizing with your mind, and your old patterns dissolving as fresh possibilities open. Transformation is not a miracle reserved for a chosen few. It is your natural design, supported by science, waiting for you to say yes. If there's one constant you can expect before every breakthrough, it's fear. It always shows up right at the edge of transformation, like a final guard standing at the doorway. This isn't accidental. Fear is the last test before a consciousness upgrade fully integrates. Think of it as life's way of asking, are you really ready to step into the unknown? The reason fear appears is simple. The ego loves comfort. Even if your comfort zone is filled with pain, it's still familiar. The ego's job is to keep you alive, not necessarily fulfilled, so when you try to grow, it interprets that as a threat. Fear rises to protect the old self, even when the old self is the very thing you're trying to outgrow. Fear rarely announces itself honestly. It often wears masks. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. You convince yourself it's not the right time. Other times it's perfectionism. You don't move forward because it's not perfect yet. Fear can also disguise itself as distraction, pulling your attention into endless scrolling, gossip, or busyness so you don't have to face the leap. Recognizing these masks is key because fear unexamined will trick you into missing the upgrade. The paradox is that fear itself is proof you're on the right path. If you feel nervous, unsettled, or even terrified, it usually means you're standing in front of a door worth opening. No one feels fear before repeating the same old routine. Fear only shows up when you're moving into unfamiliar territory where growth is possible. The bigger the fear, the more important the threshold. So how do you move through it? One way is reframing fear as confirmation, not warning. Instead of thinking, I feel scared, so I must be making a mistake, shift it to, I feel scared because I'm expanding. This mindset flips fear from enemy to ally. Another powerful tool is micro-courage, taking small steps in the direction of fear. You don't need to leap all at once. Even tiny actions, repeated consistently, signal to your mind and body that the upgrade is safe to accept. Stories throughout history prove this truth. Every great inventor, leader, or creator faced fear before breakthroughs. They didn't wait for it to disappear, they acted alongside it. Fear is not something to eliminate, but something to carry with you until it dissolves in the light of experience. So when fear rises during your upgrade, don't run from it. See it as the gatekeeper reminding you that something valuable waits on the other side. The question is not whether fear shows up, it always does, but whether you let it stop you or allow it to confirm that you are exactly where you need to be. One of the most powerful yet painful parts of any consciousness upgrade is the release of old identities. These are the versions of yourself you've worn like clothing, roles, labels, and beliefs that once fit but now feel too tight. The truth is, transformation demands shedding, and letting go of who you've been is the only way to make space for who you're becoming. Think of it like a snake shedding its skin. The skin is bad, it served its purpose, protecting and containing the creature until growth made it too small. If the snake refused to shed, it would suffocate in its own body. In the same way, holding on to outdated identities suffocates your potential. The student who once identified as the shy one cannot step into leadership until she releases that story. The person who clings to being the victim cannot embrace empowerment without loosening the grip on old wounds. Releasing identities often triggers grief, and that grief is normal. When you've lived for years with a certain version of yourself, whether it's the dependable friend, the quiet observer, or even the one who always struggles, it feels safe. Letting go can feel like a small death, but that death is actually rebirth. Every time you allow an old self to fade, a new self emerges with more capacity, more wisdom, and more alignment. Practical ways to release include conscious rituals. Journaling is one of the simplest. Write down the beliefs, labels, and roles that no longer serve you. For example, I release the belief that I am unworthy. I release the role of always being the fixer for others. I release the identity of someone who must struggle to prove their value. By naming and writing them, you remove them from the subconscious shadows and bring them into the light of awareness. Some people create symbolic rituals, burning old letters, donating items tied to a past identity, or even cutting their hair to mark the shift. These physical actions anchor the inner decision into the outer world, signaling to your system, I am ready for the new. Forgiveness practices also play a big role here, because many old identities are tied to pain inflicted by others. Releasing the resentment doesn't excuse what happened, but it frees you from being defined by it. And perhaps the most important step is practicing compassion during the shedding. Old identities were not mistakes, they were survival strategies, tools you needed for that chapter of your life. You honor them by acknowledging their service and then gently letting them go. The upgrade cannot install itself in a crowded system. To step into expansion, you must clear the space. Releasing old identities is the courageous act of saying, I am not my past, I am not my labels, I am not my wounds. I am the evolving, expanding consciousness that moves through them. And once you let go, you'll feel lighter, freer, and ready for the self that has been waiting all along. If there is one tool that unlocks every consciousness upgrade, it is awareness. Without awareness, change is impossible because you can't shift what you don't even see. Awareness acts like a flashlight in a dark room. Once you shine it on a pattern, you can no longer pretend it isn't there. That light alone begins to weaken the hold of old habits, beliefs, and reactions. Observation takes awareness a step further. It's the practice of watching your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without instantly judging or reacting to them. Most people live on autopilot. A thought appears, I'm not good enough, and instantly they believe it, feel it, and act from it. Observation interrupts this chain. Instead of being swept away, you step back and notice, that's a thought, that's an old story, that's not me, it's just passing through. That simple pause creates freedom. The magic of observation is that it transforms even painful moments into opportunities. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. The automatic response might be anger, curses, and tension. But with awareness, you notice your body tightening, your thoughts racing, and you take a breath. Suddenly you have choice. Do you feed the anger or do you let it go? The upgrade lies in the space created by that choice. Mindfulness practices help train this muscle of awareness. Meditation, for instance, isn't about stopping thoughts, it's about observing them without attachment. Journaling works similarly. By writing thoughts on paper, you create distance between yourself and your mind's chatter. Even something as simple as naming emotions, I feel fear, I feel sadness, I feel excitement, pulls them out of the shadows and into clarity. Awareness also helps reveal unconscious patterns. You may notice you always feel drained after talking to a certain friend, or that you constantly sabotage progress when you get close to success. These realizations are not punishments, they are revelations. Once seen, they lose the power of invisibility. Observation exposes the scripts running in the background so you can choose whether to keep them or rewrite them. It's important to remember that awareness is not the same as suppression. The goal isn't to push away thoughts or emotions, but to witness them without being ruled by them. Think of clouds drifting across the sky. They appear, they shift, and they disappear. You are not the cloud, you are the sky that holds it all. This shift in perspective is one of the greatest gifts of a consciousness upgrade. It changes your relationship with life itself. Instead of being trapped in reaction, you become the observer, the one who sees, chooses, and directs. With awareness, even the most challenging experiences lose their power to control you. They become teachers, not enemies. The more you practice observation, the more you realize you are not your thoughts, not your fears, not your temporary emotions. You are the one who notices them. And in that realization lies true freedom, the freedom to evolve consciously instead of unconsciously repeating the past. When a consciousness upgrade begins, awareness is the foundation, but tools give it shape. Think of them as anchors that help you stabilize the new energy and integrate it into daily life. Without tools, the upgrade can feel chaotic, like trying to hold water in your hands. With them, you create containers where transformation can settle and grow. The first and most accessible tool is meditation. People often misunderstand meditation as silencing the mind, but its true power lies in stillness. By sitting quietly, focusing on your breath or a mantra, you create space between your thoughts. That space allows the nervous system to reset, calms emotional turbulence, and opens you to intuitive guidance. Even 10 minutes a day can shift your state dramatically, acting as a charging station for your consciousness. Next is breathwork. The breath is more than oxygen, it's energy flow. Shallow breathing keeps the body in survival mode, while intentional breathing can unlock deeper awareness. Techniques like box breathing, alternate nostril breathing, or simply slowing down your exhale can clear stagnant energy, release stored emotion, and invite calm clarity. Many ancient traditions considered breath the bridge between body and spirit for a reason. Journaling is another powerful ally. Writing bypasses the filters of the mind, allowing hidden beliefs and emotions to surface. You can use journaling to process old pain, set intentions, or script the version of yourself you are becoming. For example, writing daily affirmations like, "I am aligned with my highest path," or "I release what no longer serves me" reinforces new neural pathways and embeds them into your subconscious. Visualization is equally transformative. Your brain cannot tell the difference between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. It fires the same neural patterns either way. By visualizing your upgraded self, how they walk, speak, and act, you train your system to embody that reality. Athletes use this to prepare for peak performance. Spiritually, it works the same way for embodying new levels of consciousness. Finally, energy cleansing rituals help clear the subtle layers of your being. This could be as simple as taking a salt bath to absorb negativity, burning sage or incense to refresh your space, or listening to sound frequencies that realign your vibration. Water, fire, sound, and scent have been used across cultures for centuries because they reset energy fields and invite clarity. The key with these tools is not perfection, but consistency. A few minutes of daily practice will have more impact than an occasional deep dive. These rituals signal to your mind and body, "I am ready, I am aligning, I am embracing the upgrade." Over time, they become anchors that hold you steady as your consciousness expands. When you combine awareness with practice, transformation stops being an abstract idea. It becomes tangible, woven into your routines, and expressed through your daily choices. And that's when the upgrade isn't just something happening to you, it's something you are actively co-creating. One of the most surprising aspects of a consciousness upgrade is how it affects your relationships. Growth doesn't happen in isolation, it ripples outward, and those around you feel it too. When your energy shifts, the dynamics you once tolerated often no longer feel sustainable. This isn't a flaw in the process, it's proof that you're evolving. But it can be one of the hardest parts of the journey because people you love may not understand the changes taking place within you. The first thing many experience is the surfacing of toxic ties. When your consciousness rises, unhealthy dynamics become glaringly obvious. The friend who constantly drains your energy, the partner who resists your growth, the colleague who thrives on negativity, suddenly their presence feels heavier. It's not that they've changed overnight, but your awareness has sharpened. What once blended into the background now stands out in stark contrast. At the same time, upgrades often bring new connections that feel refreshing, inspiring, and aligned. You may find yourself drawn to people who share your values, encourage your growth, and speak the new language of your evolving self. These relationships often feel like oxygen after years of suffocation. It's not coincidence, it's alignment. As you shift frequencies, you attract those who vibrate at a similar level. But in between the release of the old and the arrival of the new, there can be a season of loneliness. This is perhaps the most challenging phase. You may feel misunderstood, isolated, or even judged for changing. Old circles might label you as different or distant. But this emptiness is not a punishment, it's sacred space. It clears the ground for new, healthier relationships to take root. Think of it as pruning. You must cut away what no longer serves the garden before new blossoms appear. Boundaries become vital during this time. Setting limits with people who try to pull you back into old patterns is not cruelty, it's self-respect. Boundaries are declarations that say, "I honor where I am, and I will no longer participate in dynamics that shrink me." This can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've been conditioned to please others, but it is essential for anchoring your upgrade. It's also important to understand that not everyone who falls away is bad. Sometimes good people simply belong to earlier chapters of your life. They represent the version of you that has now transformed. Letting them go with gratitude rather than bitterness honors both the connection you shared and the self you are becoming. Ultimately, relationship shifts are mirrors. They show you where you've outgrown old versions of yourself and guide you toward communities that reflect your higher potential. The testing phase is not meant to punish, but to refine. By embracing these shifts with awareness and compassion, you open the door to relationships that truly support, nurture, and elevate your evolving consciousness. One of the most exciting results of a consciousness upgrade is how it transforms the way you experience abundance, purpose, and creative flow. When your awareness expands, it's not just your thoughts that shift, it's the opportunities, ideas, and pathways that open up around you. This is where the upgrade starts to reveal its rewards, showing you that inner transformation always echoes in the outer world. Let's begin with wealth. Often we think of wealth as simply money, but in the context of an upgrade, wealth is much broader. It includes health, relationships, time, and peace of mind. When you clear limiting beliefs and raise your vibration, you naturally become more receptive to abundance. You stop operating from scarcity, there's not enough, I have to struggle, and start aligning with flow, resources and opportunities are drawn to me. This doesn't mean money falls from the sky, but it does mean you begin to notice and seize chances you would have ignored before. A conversation leads to a collaboration, an idea becomes a new stream of income, a bold step unlocks financial stability. The shift happens because your inner state finally matches the frequency of prosperity. Then there's destiny. Every consciousness upgrade brings you closer to your soul's blueprint, the unique role only you can play in this world. Before an upgrade, you may feel lost, stuck in cycles, or disconnected from purpose. Afterward, life begins to align in ways that feel guided. You meet people who accelerate your path, doors open at the right time, and even setbacks reveal themselves as stepping stones. It feels as though invisible hands are rearranging things to move you forward. This is not magic, it's alignment. The clearer your consciousness, the easier it is for destiny to flow through you without resistance. And finally, creativity. When old mental clutter dissolves, inspiration rushes in. Many people notice a surge of creative energy after an upgrade, sudden ideas for projects, clarity in problem-solving, or a renewed passion for art, writing, or innovation. It's as if a blocked stream finally begins to flow. This is because creativity thrives in spaciousness. Once fear and self-doubt are quieted, your natural creative essence takes the stage. These three, wealth, destiny, and creativity, are deeply connected. Creativity fuels destiny by helping you express your unique gifts. Destiny aligns you with opportunities that bring abundance. Abundance then gives you the freedom to create even more. Together, they form a cycle of expansion that continually elevates you to higher levels of living. So if you've ever wondered why certain areas of your life felt blocked, the answer may be simple. Your system was waiting for an upgrade. Once you say yes to it, doors you didn't even know existed begin to swing open. And on the other side of those doors is a life that feels not only richer, but more aligned with who you truly are. Every consciousness upgrade comes with tremendous potential, but not everyone who receives the invitation actually completes it. That's because there are hidden blocks that, if left unchecked, can cancel or delay the shift. These aren't punishments from the universe, they're self-sabotaging patterns that quietly shut the door before you ever step through. Recognizing them is half the battle, because once you see them, you can choose differently. The first block is doubt. Doubt whispers, this can't be real, nothing will change, who am I to believe in transformation? It disguises itself as logic, but in reality, it's fear in a clever costume. Doubt cancels upgrades because it prevents you from fully committing. Imagine trying to plant a seed while constantly digging it up to check if it's growing. It never has the chance to root. The same happens when you water your consciousness with uncertainty, growth stalls. Another block is distraction. In a world filled with constant noise, distraction is one of the easiest traps. Instead of sitting with yourself, you scroll. Instead of listening to your intuition, you drown it out with entertainment, gossip, or busyness. Distraction keeps you in motion, but not in progress. It gives the illusion of living while quietly robbing you of the stillness needed for transformation. Then there are toxic influences, people, environments, or even habits that drag you back into the old version of yourself. Maybe it's a friend who mocks your growth, a partner who resists your evolution, or an environment that keeps you tied to negative cycles. These influences act like anchors. No matter how hard you try to rise, they pull you down. Without strong boundaries, they can cancel the shift before it takes root. A particularly sneaky block is unprocessed pain. Upgrades stir up old wounds so they can be released. If you resist this process, numbing the pain, denying it, or projecting it onto others, you trap yourself in the past. Pain that isn't faced becomes a prison, and transformation requires the courage to feel what you've avoided. It doesn't mean you need to relive every trauma, but you do need to acknowledge it, honor it, and allow healing to unfold. Finally, there's impatience. Many people expect instant results, one meditation, one ritual, one night of clarity, and then frustration sets in when change feels slower. But upgrades are processes, not events. Impatience convinces you nothing is happening, so you give up right before the breakthrough. In reality, the roots are growing beneath the surface long before the flower appears. The key to overcoming these blocks is awareness. Doubt can be replaced with trust, distraction with presence, toxic ties with boundaries, pain with healing, and impatience with patience. By naming the obstacles, you strip them of their power, and the moment you see them clearly, you reclaim the choice to keep moving forward. A consciousness upgrade is always available, but whether you step into it or sabotage, it depends on your ability to recognize and release these hidden blocks. Experiencing a consciousness upgrade is powerful, but the real challenge is not the initial breakthrough. It's anchoring the new frequency so it becomes your permanent state, not just a fleeting glimpse. Think of it like tuning an instrument. You can strike the right note once, but if you don't keep adjusting and practicing, it drifts out of harmony. Anchoring is the process of training your mind, body, and spirit to live consistently at the higher vibration you've touched. One of the most effective ways to anchor the upgrade is through daily rituals. These don't need to be complex. In fact, simplicity makes them sustainable. A morning meditation, a gratitude list, or a few minutes of conscious breathing can serve as anchors that remind your system, "This is who I am now." Repetition matters more than intensity. A small, consistent practice builds stronger roots than occasional grand efforts. Your environment plays a huge role too. After an upgrade, clutter, chaos, or toxic surroundings can pull you back into old patterns. Cleaning your space, surrounding yourself with uplifting symbols, or even introducing small shifts like lighting a candle or playing calming music can support your frequency. Your outer world always influences your inner state, so treat your environment as a mirror of the new self you're becoming. Affirmations and self-talk are another powerful anchor. When you repeat words that affirm your new identity, "I am aligned," "I am worthy," "I am expanding," you reinforce neural pathways in your brain. Over time, these words become automatic beliefs. The more you speak them, the more your system accepts them as truth. Anchoring also requires embodied action. Transformation is not just about what you think, but how you live. Ask yourself daily, how would the upgraded version of me handle this situation? Then act accordingly. Each aligned choice strengthens the frequency until it becomes second nature. For example, if your upgrade calls for confidence, practice speaking up in small ways. If it calls for health, choose nourishing foods or movement. Each act is a vote for the new you. Don't forget the importance of rest and integration. Upgrades can be intense, and if you push too hard, you risk burnout. Allow yourself downtime to process, reflect, and let the energy settle. Sometimes the most powerful anchoring happens in stillness, when the body and mind are quietly adjusting to the shift. Finally, seek community and support. Being around others who are also growing helps normalize the new frequency. Shared practices, discussions, or even silent support can remind you that you're not alone in holding this vibration. Anchoring is about turning a moment of awakening into a lifestyle. Without it, the upgrade may feel like a spark that fades. With it, that spark becomes a steady flame, one that lights the path for the rest of your journey. When you say yes to a consciousness upgrade, the effects don't end tonight or even this week. They unfold over months and years, reshaping your entire life. The long-term impact is profound because every choice made from an expanded state of awareness multiplies. It's like throwing a stone into a still pond. The ripples keep moving outward, touching areas you never expected. In the first month, the impact is often internal. You feel lighter, clearer, more focused. Old patterns don't grip you as tightly, and situations that once triggered you lose their power. You may also notice small synchronicities, encounters, opportunities, or insights that confirm you're on the right track. This early stage is about stabilization as your system learns to hold the new frequency. By the 6-month mark, the changes begin to show externally. Relationships shift, some fall away, while others strengthen in deeper, more authentic ways. Your work or creative life may transform as you find yourself drawn to projects that align with your higher purpose. You'll likely look back and realize you're not the same person you were half a year ago. Your mindset, choices, and priorities have all evolved. After a year or more, the upgrade becomes part of your identity. What once required effort, such as mindfulness, boundaries, or positive habits, now flows naturally. You don't just practice higher consciousness, you live it. By this point, people may comment that you seem different, calmer, more radiant, more magnetic. It's not that life stops presenting challenges, but you respond with resilience and wisdom instead of fear. The long-term impact also extends to destiny. Each upgrade aligns you more closely with your soul's blueprint. Over time, this alignment creates a life that feels guided rather than forced. You'll find yourself in the right places at the right times, meeting the right people, pursuing the right opportunities. The journey stops feeling like a constant uphill battle and begins to flow with a sense of grace. Perhaps the most beautiful effect is how it influences others. Your upgrade doesn't just transform you, it inspires those around you. When you embody awareness, compassion, and courage, you become a living example of what's possible. Friends, family, even strangers will sense it, and many will begin their own upgrades because of your presence. In this way, your personal growth becomes collective healing. The truth is, saying yes to an upgrade is not just about improving your life. It's about stepping into your role as a conscious creator in a world that desperately needs it. Every upgrade moves humanity forward, one person at a time. So the long-term impact is this: greater clarity, deeper purpose, aligned relationships, creative flow, and the quiet confidence that you are living the life you were meant to live. Saying yes tonight is not a small decision. It is the beginning of a future you'll be proud to claim. You are ready for this upgrade. Trust it, live it, and rise higher. Stay aligned with Quantum Veil. Like, share, subscribe, and comment what shift you feel tonight.